Good morning, everybody. I hope you had a nice weekend. We are at the start of week 8. The weather is finally starting to feel a little bit like summer, which makes sense because we are truly in the home stretch of this school year with just about 2 weeks left of online instruction and 3 weeks left of school. So I hope that you are feeling excited and are gearing up for a nice summer break, and that you're feeling good with all of your classes as the year comes to a close. I'm going to make this week's video nice and short and just give you a rundown on what you'll be working on this week and give you some helpful advice for as you read this week's story. So just like last week, you'll have your vocabulary set too. So the list is in there. It's the same list of words as last week. This week, you'll just be writing your sentences for the second half of the list. When it comes to writing your sentences, one thing I want to make sure that you are doing is when you create your sentences, you want to make sure that they're giving enough context for the reader to understand the definition of the word. So make sure that you're not just writing a really short sentence that if someone was reading it, they'd have no idea what your word meant. So just make sure that they're detailed. Use the list of definitions. Use your other resources to see examples of sentences. And I will be checking last week's work this week, so you'll start to see your grades go in over the next few days. This week, you'll be reading The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. You'll see in my schedule that I said if you've ever heard of, seen, read The Hunger Games, you'll find some pretty interesting similarities between the two storylines. So it's a story about a very peculiar tradition that is held in a village, and you'll learn about some characters and sort of just how the townspeople and the village people react to or go about their lives surrounding this tradition. It's a really interesting story. It's a little bit longer than last week's story, so that's why there are just the reading and the questions this week. One thing I will suggest to do is the reading questions are called guided reading. And so it's really helpful if you take a look at the questions before you start reading. Make note of the line numbers that you are going to be going back to. You can read the story through one full time just to get it all, process the story and get a good understanding of it and then go back through. Or if you'd prefer to answer the questions as you go, it's really helpful to have those page numbers attached to the questions. So take your time with the questions. We'll be working on this story again next week because there is a lot to unpack with it. So I wanted to give you this week to just read it, make sure that you're comprehending it, and then next week we'll move on to some more analysis of the themes that we're seeing in this story. So as always, make sure that you are doing your work thoroughly, submitting it by the end of the day Friday. If you need a few extra days, like over the weekend, to submit it, please let me know ahead of time, just so that we're communicating and I know that you have reached out to me if for some reason you need an extension on the work. Keep up the great work. You're doing a good job. We'll, be doing similar activities as we finish out the year. And if you have work to make up, so if you have the Of Mice and Men quiz or any of those things, please make sure that you are getting that work done, letting me know once you get it done, because I want to make sure that I am seeing that you completed it and I can go back and adjust your grades accordingly. As the year rounds out, like I've been saying this whole time, I'm really flexible and I want to make sure that we are on the same page and that you are getting your work done so that you can have this last quarter here help to bring up your final grade as a 10th grader. So as always, if you have questions, reach out to me. It's supposed to be nice and warm this week, so again, enjoy the weather, and I will see you guys same time, same place next week.
You want to say hi? Oh, say hello. Oh, yes. Oh, hello.